We are going to talk the biggest winners from the 2023 NFL draft today. This is existing players. This is some of the rookies in their situations, some of the quarterbacks that got some new weapons. So it's going to be interesting. And these guys are the biggest winners. And from a dynasty perspective, there's obviously going to be impact on that from a production standpoint. We're going to tie all that in and let you know why these guys are actually walking away from this and looking pretty darn good. First, make sure you like the video. It's really easy. All you have to do is scroll down. Just hit the like. Just please do it, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. We really, your thumb is like crooked, man. I can't. Every time you do that, it's like,
angle.
You're like, eh. Is it the angle though? Because I think you just kind of have a dumb thumb. All right, let's talk about 2020 dumb thumb 2023 NFL draft winners. So it's going to be a combination of guys, and we're going to start with Trey Burks. So Trey Burks is a winner in the NFL draft because the Tennessee Titans did two things. Number one, they did not draft another receiver, which honestly, should they have? Probably. And actually, I hold the opinion that he would be helped by another receiver. Yeah. But this is going to literally, he's going to hold the large majority of the targets here. But the biggest reason that he is a winner here is because the Titans went up and drafted Will Levis, somebody with a big arm, somebody that's going to be able to use Treylon Burks to his full potential, and somebody that could be providing the volume that Treylon Burks needs to be fantasy elite and have a breakout year. So Treylon Burks, his situation's obviously better than it was before the draft for that reason.
Oh yeah, very clearly. I mean, this guy is a guy that has big playability. He can do a lot after the catch. He's very versatile as a wide receiver. As a polished route runner, we don't really know yet. That's kind of what we're waiting for in his sophomore season. And he struggled with injury last year anyways in a, just not a very fantasy productive offense outside of Derrick Henry. With Ryan Tannehill, he wasn't really able to push it down the field very much. Will Levis, we have a lot of concerns, questions about him, but what we do know is that he can absolutely push it downfield, and he will totally give Burks everything he needs to produce as a, really effective fantasy and dynasty asset. So we were excited about him before this move with Burks, and now we're even more excited. Definitely a win for him, and he should be pushed up draft boards because of this.
I think it will be, and I think again, we've been calling this for a while. He's going to have a breakout year, and this NFL draft and what happened here just kind of made that even more likely. So we're pumped about Treylon Burks, and we hope you've been buying him. Yeah. All right, Javonte Williams is going to be our next guy. So talk a little bit. Wow, Avery, a little bit about. I got it. Why Javonte Williams is a winner. Sorry. Thanks for watching this channel.
Javonte Williams is, look, we've had plenty of concerns with his really terrible injury that he suffered last season. Don't really know when he's going to come back this year. And honestly, there was definitely a risk that Sean Payton was just going to, move on from him and find a replacement running back. And they went into the draft and they didn't draft anyone. So that's really helpful for Javonte Williams' stock for the next 2 years. Really gives him a chance to build off what he flashed and showed in his first 2 seasons. And I think Sean Payton could really build off that if he likes what he sees and he likes the recovery timetable for Javonte Williams. If he comes out and he still has that receiving upside that he demonstrated in splurts during his first couple seasons, I think you have a little bit of a what?
You said splurts. It's spurts. You have to leave this in.
Okay, in spurts. Just add it to the list of Pat P.
Go.
Next up is going to be J.K. Dobbins. Kind of the same thing. And we, again, another guy that suffered from a terrible injury. We thought he was going to get replaced and really thought that they were just going to want to ride with a different running back with a different skill set with the exit of Greg Roman in that offense. And then they go into the draft, and guess what? They don't draft a running back. So gives Dobbins another chance to show the receiving upside that we don't really think he has, but hey, maybe he could do something.
Yeah, so J.K. Dobbins obviously is going to probably start the year as the starting running back in Baltimore. And because
you're not going to be able to keep a straight face for the rest of this video.
Splurt. Because of that, he's going to maintain his value, and honestly, his value should go up now. I think this is showing that Baltimore, from a team investment standpoint, is willing to give J.K. Dobbins another shot. And obviously, he's going into this is his final year on his rookie contract, right? Yeah. Which is just it's
unbelievable.
It was throwing up a ton of red flags for us because, like, this guy, he has not done squat.
He hasn't done a splurt.
Doesn't done splurt on his rookie deal, and now They coming in, there's a pretty good running back draft class. And honestly, we thought this with a lot of guys. And honestly, this is where we can just put running backs that had bad draft capital that we thought would get replaced. And pretty much all of them didn't. Tyler Algier did. But outside of that, Rashad White was a winner here. I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they could have easily drafted a running back here, and they decided, no, I'm not going to.
This makes me way more excited about Rashad White long term. I think he could really build off what he did compared to last year with the exit of Big Boy Lenny. And with his receiving upside, which he proved throughout college and demonstrated it in the NFL, I mean, honestly, this guy, Rashad White's a guy that could skyrocket up draft boards. And I honestly don't even think it'll happen until he produces, which means he may even be a buy right now.
Yep.
So we'll see. We'll see. We were wrong on him, and I'm happy to see that.
We were wrong on him. We were wrong on Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce will stay at least for another year as the starting running back with the Texans. I
still think Rashad White's way better than him, and it's definitely notable that they went out of their way to bring in some extra help at the RB position. Singletary is a very relevant running back in that backfield, and I think they may be splitting some time. But again, he definitely is a winner.
Their offense will be better though as well.
Yeah,
Tony Pollard's a winner. Unfortunately,
oof,
man. Yeah. Really thought he was going to get replaced. Really did.
Yeah. Still don't think he should be going in the 5th round of startups, but
because they're going to have to. Tony Pollard's not a workhorse back. They're going to have to bring somebody in. I don't know.
I will say if Deuce Vaughn comes in and actually produces,
you know who they should sign.
Laugh so hard.
That would be good.
Melvin Gordon,
Ezekiel Elliott.
Oh,
so yeah.
They just.
I know, Nathan. It's a joke. They just cut him. So. Running backs that have low draft capital, pretty much almost all of them were winners, and we missed.
Except for Algier, and Algier was our favorite.
And Algier was our favorite one, so that's typically how it goes.
Yeah.
Moving down the list here, DeAndre Swift was a winner. Why was Swift a winner? Because DeAndre Swift was drafted by the Detroit Lions. He was a very good prospect. He has so much upside. He was efficient, just crazy efficient this last year in terms of doing the most with such little touches, and the Lions and Dan Campbell just hated his guts. They despised him. They literally were like, DeAndre, you suck. You stand on the sideline and you don't do anything. He got less than
he was really sad.
He got 30% of the snap share last year, and he was really good when he was in the game. Yeah. The problem with DeAndre Swift obviously was that he could not stay healthy, and that was part of it. And I know they didn't actually think that of DeAndre Swift, but man, they really did not give him a lot of workload given the flashes of talent that you saw from him when he was on the field. However, he's a big winner now because they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs, which made a ton of sense. And then they shipped him off to Philly. In Philly, you're talking about the best offense in the league. You're talking about one of the hottest quarterbacks in the league. You're talking about some of the best weapons in the league. And now DeAndre Swift going to a backfield where Kenneth Gainwell was the starter. So if you don't think that he could step in and be the starter right away, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, he absolutely could. And if he stays healthy, that's a big caveat. And I understand the concerns with, and we say it all the time, the best ability is availability, and he's got to be available, and I know. But we love Swift from a talent standpoint. We were telling you to buy him. And honestly, one of the biggest winners in this draft was me because of that. Because I have so many Swift shares because I've just been... I don't know why. It's like a drug. I could not stop buying DeAndre Swift. Yeah. Even when it was bad, I was like, give me more. I traded for him pre-draft. And I'm like, what am I doing? And then they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. And I was like, I was sitting here when we were doing I was like, he's dead. He's dead. Yeah. I don't know what to do. And the next day I was like, oh my gosh. I just got saved.
Actually, it was 2 days later. They didn't do it until day 3.
I just got saved in 5 leagues.
Yeah. Please don't go into the comments and say Rashad Penny. We're just not. Okay.
We're not mentioning him for a reason, guys. Yeah. So there's a trend, actually. When you look at each of Rashad Penny's seasons in the NFL, he gets hurt in every single one of them.
I think he got injured. And then he got injured.
He was also injured this year.
And then
the third year he had
injured. And this wasn't just in sports too. This was consistent across the board every single year. He's going to do it again. He will get hurt. I'm going to go out on a limb and just predict that that's going to happen at some point this year. Rashad Penny will get hurt.
Why would you think that?
Because he's shown it before.
All right, I'm going to go with a non-popular choice for a winner of the NFL draft. I'm going to go Michael Pittman. This is somebody that I saw a tweet actually that said that we should be concerned about Josh Downs taking away from Michael Pittman, which is really bad take for a number of reasons. Number one, Michael Pittman is a much better receiver than Josh Downs with much better draft capital. But number two, Josh Downs is the receiver that Indianapolis needed, coming from two guys who have had to painfully sit through every Colts game for the past since Andrew Luck left. And before that, I've watched every Colts game since I was 7 years old. I mean, they needed him. Man, they've been missing that field-stretching slot wide receiver since T.Y. Hilton, and they're not the same players, him and Josh Downs. Obviously, T.Y. Hilton's got quite a bit more speed than Josh Downs does. Yeah. But Josh Downs is going to work at the middle of the field. They have that intermediate game that helps open up the outsides for Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman. And because of that, I think some of the pressure comes off of Pittman. Pittman was able to get his targets last year with Matt Ryan and Sam Ehlinger throwing him the ball. And to Nick Foles at times, who Nick Foles never really threw Colts receivers the ball. He threw it to the other team pretty much every time. But, I mean, it really doesn't get...
It was like comical.
We were at the Chargers game, and it was like, is he going to throw a completion? He lost me a fantasy game. I need Michael Pittman to get like 4 points. Couldn't happen.
Rip.
And so with Michael Pittman, I think he's a winner because I think Josh Downs is going to open some things up for him. I think this is going to help their offensive scheme. Obviously, and Anthony Richardson helps Michael Pittman too. I mean, now you've got some more weapons. That Indianapolis offense goes from Matt Ryan, who literally could not move. Like, he wouldn't. If somebody was close to him, he was on the ground. And now you've got Anthony Richardson, who will make people miss like nobody's business. You've got a dual threat rushing QB, and you've got an elite running back. You've now got a good slot wide receiver. You've got an opposite side receiver in Alec Pierce. Michael Pittman's going to be free to do whatever he wants.
It's going to open up the field, man.
AR is going to heavily target Michael Pittman. And again, if you think AR is hurting Michael Pittman, I don't think you watched last year, because I can confidently tell you it cannot get worse than what we had last year. AR cannot be worse than what we had last year. He cannot be. I promise. I lived it. It was awful.
It was horrible. If the Colts suck this year, at least it'll be fun to watch, because, gosh.
That's our silver lining. Our AR jersey is going to be up there soon.
Yeah.
All right, you got Gino Smith.
So with Gino Smith, man, they just added 2 more weapons, one of which was unreasonable, the other one being, a really great short to intermediate target who can do a lot after the catch, and that's Jackson Smith-Njigba. So with Gino Smith, man, now you've got DK for him, you got JSN, you got Lockett, who's nearing the end of his career, but that's 3 great wide receivers, and then you have Dwayne Haskins, just kidding, and then you have Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet in the backfield helping them out. I mean, this is a team that's looking like they could transition to a real nice dual threat backfield, maybe even a 6-back offense. Like, I don't really know what they're doing here. It kind of sucks from a fantasy perspective for the running backs, but for Geno Smith, man, he has every short to intermediate field target that you could dream of.
Because Jason's the wide receiver one in Seattle.
This is so good. A bunch of guys that can do so much after the catch, and you don't have to ask Gino to do anything, then stay in the pocket and make the pass and not throw a pick. And then when the timing is there, he can launch it to DK, and DK will get another 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. Like, this is the most ideal situation for Gino, and honestly, I think this is a great sign for him in Dynasty, looking towards the future. They spend, a significant first-round draft pick on a wide receiver to build around Geno Smith. I don't know if they're going to be drafting a quarterback anytime soon. I think they really are comfortable with Geno. And I mean, he's not old. He's, a late comer, but he's early 30s, man. He's early 30s. They got plenty of time with him.
Yeah. And look, Jason, like I said, wide receiver 1. He's the wide receiver 1 in that offense, in our opinion. And this helps DK. This is going to help DK. It's going to help Tyler Lockett.
Yeah.
It's going to help Kenneth Walker. I mean, and Gino is looking like he's in a Jared Goff situation. You saw both of those guys last year produce more than we thought they would. They were both put in fairly good offenses, but Jared Goff literally has so many weapons around him, and I think the Lions have the best weapons in the league, in my opinion. The Seahawks are pretty close.
Yeah, with the amount of injuries and suspensions that were going on around the quarterback position last year, there were a couple QBs that ended up landing as QB1s overall from a points per game perspective and total points, and they're kind of outliers, and a lot of them will probably fall back out of the QB1 threshold. I think Gino's one of the guys that stays there.
Yep,
I think he does.
Our last winner of this draft is going to be Quentin Johnson, who comes into the NFL and immediately has Justin Herbert throwing him the ball. I mean, he could not have walked into a better situation. You're walking into a situation where you have 30-plus-year-old Keenan Allen, whose hamstrings are literally turning into jello.
Old guitar strings.
Yeah, there you go. Wow, that's pretty impressive. And Mike Williams, who every time he seems to get healthy and is really incredible when he's on the field, to be honest with you. ankle, whatever. I mean, it's just thing after thing with those dudes. And they missed that last year, and Justin Herbert really missed that. And it really kept them away between that and Lombardi calling the plays, really kept them away from stretching the field. Quentin Johnston's going to allow them. I mean, I think Justin Herbert's a winner too because he gets Quentin Johnston. But Quentin Johnston in particular, to step into that situation where there's going to be that much opportunity, where there's going to be that much passing volume, and there's going to be a very good quarterback throwing you the ball. I mean, I don't think it could have gone better for Quentin Johnston. It obviously bumped him above Addison for us. Situationally,
from a
the fact that he got
too.
the ceiling perspective, the fact that they got pretty much identical draft capital. What can I say, man? I think Quentin Johnston's a big winner, and I think we're going to see big things from his first year as well.
I think you really could argue that Mike Williams could maybe even be an even a bigger winner from a fantasy perspective, production perspective here, because I mean, you saw his ceiling and what he could do with Keenan Allen when he was healthy 2 years ago, and then Keenan Allen struggles with injury consistently last season, and they couldn't really he couldn't play the role that offense really wanted him to play when they didn't have a complementary receiver underneath. When assuming QJ stays healthy and replaces Keenan Allen when he inevitably gets hurt, like, they're not going to lose that chemistry, and Mike Williams is going to be able to do what Mike Williams does best, and they're going to take more shots downfield, which means I think while I was wrong from a production standpoint last year for Mike Williams, I think I'm going to predict it again and say that his ceiling is going to be pretty high this year from a fantasy football
If you got Justin Herbert throwing you the ball, then anything's possible. So, All right, let us know in the comments who you think are the biggest winners from the NFL draft. I'm sure we're missing some really obvious ones, and I'm sure there are quite a few here. I'm sure there are some big losers here too, but we're going to focus on the winners because we are positive people over here at Dynasty Domain. So we appreciate you watching. Make sure you like the video and Nathan's crooked thumb. Do it just for that. Do it for Nathan's thumb, if anything. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We are going to splurt with all kinds of Dynasty content. I cannot believe you said that. We're all kinds of Dynasty content this offseason, including all kinds of rookie content. So we're just now getting started with this. We appreciate it if you subscribe. Make sure you head over to our locals page where you'll find all of our exclusive content. You can support us there. As always, we really appreciate all of you guys watching and supporting us. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you later.